Shockwaves have once again rippled across Britain's tabloid landscape after yet another false story about Prince Harry's private life was splashed across headlines, only to be categorically denied by his official spokesperson. The latest claim, briefed by so-called insiders and eagerly amplified by gossip-driven outlets, insisted that the Duke of Sussex had already enrolled his son Archie at Eton College, the elite Windsor school that has educated generations of Britain's aristocracy and royals. But in an unequivocal statement, Harry's spokesperson dismantled the story with clarity and finality, stressing, "Prince Harry has not put his son's name down for Eton, nor does he have any plans to do so." With those sharp words, the narrative spun by tabloids collapsed in full public view. For Harry, the idea of sending his son to Eton could not be further from the truth, not only because it misrepresented his intentions as a parent, but also because it misrepresented his own experience. For Prince Harry, Eton was not a fond memory. It was a painful chapter, and the thought of reliving it through his son is one he would never entertain. Those who followed Harry's formative years know well that his time at Eton was fraught with tension, loneliness, and relentless public scrutiny. The institution, steeped in centuries of tradition and privilege, may carry an aura of prestige, but for Harry it was often a cage of expectations. Unlike the glowing pictures tabloids love to paint of a golden childhood, Harry's recollections have always hinted at the pressure and isolation he felt. He has openly admitted in the past that school was not an easy environment, and friends who have spoken over the years suggest Eton was particularly difficult. For a boy whose every step was scrutinized, the elite school felt like an incubator of judgment rather than a sanctuary of education. Harry's refusal to consider Eton for Archie is not an act of rebellion against tradition. It is an act of love and protection. He would never consign his son to an institution that brought him pain. The story that he had already filled out the paperwork to secure Archie's place was therefore not only misleading, but cruel. It attempted to project onto Harry a loyalty to institutions he has consistently distanced himself from. It tried to box him into the very mould he has been breaking out of for years, and as has become routine, the British press did not hesitate to leap on the rumour, spinning it into headlines designed to provoke intrigue and sell copies. Yet once again, the truth caught up with them. Harry's spokesperson's comment stripped the claim bare, showing it for what it was, another manufactured controversy with no foundation in reality. What makes the episode even more frustrating for Harry is the way in which these fabricated tales are often woven into broader rumours about his life. Alongside the Eton claim came the inevitable whispering about whether Harry and Meghan were planning to return to Britain with their children. For months, tabloids have tried to paint a picture of a homesick duke secretly plotting a return to the fold of royal life. This narrative, too, has been met with categorical denials, yet it persists, recycled every few weeks in slightly new forms. Harry has said repeatedly, through both words and actions, that his life is in California. He has built his home there with Meghan and their children. He has embraced a new chapter of service, philanthropy, and advocacy outside the institution that once constrained him. And yet, no matter how many times he sets the record straight, the headlines refuse to die. The reason is simple. Harry represents a contradiction that the tabloids cannot accept. He is a royal who stepped away, a prince who refused the script, a man who chose autonomy over tradition. In doing so, he became both the media's greatest obsession and its greatest enemy. To admit that Harry is happy in California, that he is not yearning to return, would be to accept that the fairy tale version of monarchy has cracks. It would mean acknowledging that not every prince wants a palace, that not every royal child belongs in gilded halls or ancient schools. So instead, false stories are manufactured to pull him back into a narrative he no longer inhabits. The Eton rumour is a perfect example. It sought to suggest that, despite all his talk of independence, Harry was still tethered to the same institutions as his ancestors. It implied that no matter how far he roamed, the pull of tradition was irresistible, and that he would ultimately conform by sending his son to the very school that once defined him. But Harry's swift denial cuts through that illusion. His statement is more than a correction. It is a declaration of intent. He will raise Archie and Lilibet on his own terms, guided not by the weight of royal precedent, but by the values he and Meghan hold as parents. Those values are shaped not only by Harry's negative experiences in Britain, but also by the positive life he has built in America. California has offered the Duke and Duchess of Sussex a chance to define family life free from the constant intrusion of the British press. Their children grow up with access to sunshine, nature, and a degree of normality that Harry never had. Enrolling Archie at Eton would undo much of that. It would place him squarely in the centre of the same relentless attention Harry has worked so hard to escape. By refusing to even consider it, Harry is shielding his son from repeating the cycle. This is why the false claims sting so deeply. They do not simply misstate a fact about school enrolment, they distort Harry's entire journey. They attempt to rewrite the story of a man who broke free, dragging him back into the same system he fought to leave behind. And for what? For headlines, for profit, for the ongoing spectacle that sustains a press industry obsessed with drama. Harry knows this all too well. It is why he and Meghan have spoken out so frequently against the harms of tabloid culture. It is why they have pursued legal action when necessary, and why they continue to set boundaries. The episode also underscores a troubling reality. No matter how many times Harry asserts that he is not moving back to Britain, the story resurfaces with new intensity. It is almost as if the press cannot believe him, as though his words carry less authority than their speculation. But Harry's actions speak louder than any rumour. His work in the United States, his growing ties with American organisations, his continued presence at events far from the UK, all demonstrate that his life is firmly rooted across the Atlantic. The house in Montecito, the community they have built, the partnerships they have formed, these are not temporary fixtures. They are permanent foundations. Harry has been clear that he will visit the UK when necessary, particularly for matters relating to his charities and causes close to his heart, or when personal family obligations arise. But that is a far cry from resettling his entire family there. Meghan, too, has no intention of returning to the environment that caused her such distress. For both of them, California is not a hideaway, it is a chosen home. The suggestion that they are secretly preparing to move back is not only inaccurate, but insulting. It denies the agency of a couple who made one of the most public decisions of the modern royal era, the decision to step away. And so, the cycle continues. Tabloids fabricate, Harry corrects, and the truth struggles to compete with sensationalism. But in this case, the correction is particularly powerful. It is not just about Eton or about Archie or about geography, it is about control. By rejecting the narrative forced upon him, Harry asserts once more that he is in charge of his own story. He is not the boy trapped in an institution. He is not the prince bound to tradition. He is not the figure the tabloids wish he were. He is a husband, a father, and a man determined to protect his family from the mistakes of the past. That resolve is evident in every word of his spokesperson's statement. Prince Harry has not put his son's name down for Eton, nor does he have any plans to do so. It is short, clear, and absolute. There is no room for reinterpretation, no loophole to exploit. It is a refusal written in stone. And behind those words lies a father's determination not to repeat history. The media may continue to chase ghosts of tradition, but Harry is focused on building something real. He is focused on the well-being of his children, on the happiness of his wife, and on the work that defines his purpose. If the press cannot accept that, it says more about them than it does about him. They will continue to spin, and he will continue to correct. But every denial chips away at the myth. Every rebuttal pulls back the curtain. Every truth-telling moment exposes the desperation of an industry that cannot let go. In the end, Harry's life will not be dictated by speculation. It will be dictated by the choices he makes, the values he upholds, and the family he protects. And in those choices, one thing is certain. Archie will never walk through the gates of Eton. He will never carry the burden of his father's past. He will be free to grow on his own path, unshackled from tradition that no longer serves. For Harry, that is the ultimate victory. Not over the tabloids, not over the monarchy, but over the cycle of pain that shaped him. By saying no to Eton, he is saying yes to a new future. By rejecting rumours of moving back, he is affirming the life he has built. And by standing firm, he sends a message that cannot be silenced. This family writes its own story, and no tabloid will take that away. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, and put a comment. Bye-bye. See you then in our next episode.